Now, if you ask whether vegetarianism is good for yoga practice, I would say vegetarianism helps you in keeping your thought process in a what I would suggest for a beginner or a person who has completed 200 hours is start practicing. One is start practicing.
Hi everyone, my name is Akin and I'm back here with Kavya on episode 3. We have a very special guest today with us, KK sir. He's our teacher. We learned yoga anatomy back in 2020 from him, and ever since we've gained a lot in our yoga journey. To date, he's our mentor and someone we go to with so many questions, and somehow all those questions get answered. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to do this with us. Okay, hi everyone. So I'm just going to ask this one question, sir, for you, which is so how important warm-ups are. So sometimes I find myself doing warm-ups for 15 minutes, 20 minutes on days where it's really so why are warm-ups so important, and what really happens when one doesn't do a good warm-up before the
Okay,
asana
good
practice?
question. So it is not just for asana practice, for any kind of physical activity or exercise. Definitely, we should have a warm up at least for 10 to 15 minutes. So when you do warm up, what happens is it gives a proper facilitation for the muscles and joints. It actually prepares the muscles and the joints for the actual physical activity or the exercise or the asana practice which you're going to do. So it helps in making the blood flow towards the joints and towards the muscles which you are being used or which you will be using for the actual exercise or the workout or the asana practice. So one good advantage of practicing warm up or keeping warm up as a starting thing for your exercise regime is it reduces your injury very drastically. We can say one of the main important things to reduce or to uh, negate injuries is proper warm up. So if you do not do proper warm up, definitely on a long run, definitely you will have some or other kind of injuries, either joint related injuries or muscle related injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, or connective tissue related injuries like ligament injury or tendon injury. Some
True.
or other injury will definitely happen if you do not have proper warm up. So even if you are a pro practitioner, okay, in exercise, it's a must. So as we do a proper warm up, we also should focus on a proper cool down also. So in yoga, we can say like
Very
yeah,
important. Correct.
Shavasana is acts like a cool down, but Shavasana is much more than that. But even if you're doing a workout or any kind of physical exercise or like even if you're hitting the gym or anything, you should definitely have a cool down. If possible, you can add Shavasana. Okay, after a cool down, definitely you can add a Shavasana. Because say when you go to a gym or when you do any kind of physical activity where you have more aggression, like like you do martial arts or weight training or calisthenics or any kind of sports, you may be still in the aggressive mode. So you are leaving the studio, you're leaving the gym, or you're
Mhm.
leaving that particular place with that aggression of the mind. So when you cool down and when you go for a shavasana, it actually settle downs your physical body as well as your mind. So your mind becomes more calm before you step out of the center. Okay, so in that way, warm up and your main physical activity or asana practice or whatever it is, and then a cool down and shavasana is very what do you say? I will say it is a necessity. Okay.
So,
Okay.
sir,
Rather than
yeah,
a choice, I'll say you make it as a part of your exercise regime.
like this. So here, sir, I have two questions actually, which
Brilliant.
are, part of one question. The first question is that in traditional Hatha Yoga, you see Sukshma Vyayam categorized separately, and Surya Namaskar, as we all know now, that it's very modern, like it has been added to the Hatha practice very later on. So, does Surya Namaskar constitutes as, warm up, or Sukshma Vyayam that we had in the traditional Hatha Yoga, was that separate? And the other question to this extension is because even when you do Surya Namaskars, multiple rounds of it, you are really warming up your joints. But then why people who do Ashtanga, there are like almost 10 rounds of Surya Namaskar you do, like Surya Namaskar A5 and Surya Namaskar B5. And then the most amount of injuries that you see happen in that particular practice. So what is the reason?
Uh, Kavya, can you just simplify the question a bit more?
Yeah. So my question is, sir, that is Sukshma Vyayam similar to Surya Namaskar, or we need to do them separately? And the second,
Ah,
uh,
okay. Yeah. See, Sukshma is entirely different than Surya Namaskar. Yes, Surya Namaskar, we can say it is like a Sthola Vyayam. That means it is more of a physical activity and it is a vinyasa. That means there is a flow. Okay.
Mm.
Sukshma Vyayama is you're focusing on a particular area. Okay. So Sukshma means you're focusing very
Mm.
much to a particular area. For example, like when you do a Sukshma Vyayam of your wrist. Okay. So when you do Sukshma Vyayama, your complete focus is on only on the wrist, movements of the wrist. Okay. And when you do the wrist movements, how you're regulating your breath. Okay. Maybe you can feel even the blood flow or you go to the subtle level when you do Sukshma Vyayam. Surya Namaskar, you can also do as a Sukshma Vyayam, but it then you have to do it in a very, very different way. But if you look at the way we do Surya Namaskar, it is more of a Sthula Vyayam. That means it is more of a physical activity, gross one. So we cannot compare Sukshma Vyayam or Surya Namaskar as one. And both are different. I would recommend before going into Surya Namaskar, you should actually practice Sukshma Vyayam. Then you go into the Surya Namaskar. Because Sukshma Vyayam, what happens is even it helps the joints also.
yeah.
It helps to regulate the synovial fluids in the
Hmm.
joints. So in that way, Sukshma Vyayam is again important. So I would add it with the question which Ekin asked. Before warm up, if you do Sukshma Vyayam, it helps a bit more. So Sukshma Vyayam, then a warm up. Okay, then the if it is anasana, yoga asana practice, then I'll say Surya Namaskar. Then asana, whichever you are choosing, one or two or three or four asanas. Then you can go into the shavasana.
Why do injuries happen? Because in a lot of vinyasa sequences, there's no Sukshma Vyayam. You just start with this Thula
Yeah,
Vyayam, which is your Surya Namaskar. So there's
yeah.
probably like a lot of ligament injuries that happen to the knee is because
Yes.
there's no proper Sukshma Vyayam included for the knee. So
Yeah, there are many documents or there are many papers which actually shows that people who are practicing vinyasa without a proper warm up or a sukshma, they definitely end up with similar kind of injuries. The injury pattern is same.
yeah, 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 absolutely. It's inner knee ligament, right? ACL.
Not only in the knee, it can happen in the
Oh,
shoulder also. It can happen in the wrist also. It can happen in the elbow also. It can
okay.
happen in any of the joints where there is weight bearing.
Yeah,
All the joints will have a trouble. It depends upon the weakness of that person. If the person's particular joint is weak, then that will be targeted.
that's true. You were asking something, Aki.
Yeah, taking, yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of the joints, you know how we say that, people who've never done yoga and are complete gym goers, most people say that, oh, I'm 40 now and, I must do weight training because my joints are going to thank me, which at many levels it is true. But so what are they missing if they're not doing yoga? Um, Because I get this a lot, that I'm doing I'm doing weight training, and I'm very regular with weight training, and my joints are definitely going to thank me, which is true. But what is this one thing that they're missing? Of course, mental strength, what we spoke about, but what is missing really if they are not doing yoga? So
See, whether they are missing or not, it is completely depending upon each one's perspective.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we cannot comment that they are missing something, because
Fair, fair.
yoga might not be a cup of tea for them, and they might not have ever thought in their minds also about yoga. So
Correct.
without yoga, they might be happy. They are happy. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it is each one's perspective. So we cannot say that they are missing something if they are not doing yoga. But definitely there are advantages. Okay,
Mm,
so we can put it in that way that there are certain advantages which they may miss. Okay,
mm,
it is not
mm, mm.
they are missing; they may miss. Okay,
They may miss. Fair,
yeah.
fair.
Okay. So I would say that when you practice yoga, okay, so yoga actually focuses on the Pancha Kosha theory. So
Correct.
Pancha Kosha Siddhanta, that is, starts with the Annamaya Kosha and goes up to the Anandamaya Kosha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Okay. So what happens is when you practice yoga asana practice or any kind of yogic practices, we actually focus on these five koshas, which you actually miss in the gym
Mm,
work. So in
mm,
gym workout, we tend to focus more on the physical level because it is
mm,
completely shaping of the muscles and building of the muscles.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
So
mm,
we are focusing only on the strength building
mm,
of the physical body.
mm,
Maybe the person's mind is not strong at that point. Okay. Or
mm,
maybe the person is not at all focusing on the mind or
mm,
strengthening of the mind. Okay.
mm, mm,
Which we can develop in the yoga practices,
mm,
because we have breathing practices, we have pranayama practices, which actually helps in focusing the mind and regulating the thought process. So in
mm,
that way, they are missing some advantages which you can get from the yogasana practice. Okay,
mm,
so if you ask me, I will say if you're a gym goer, once in a while you try yoga practice also,
mm,
and if you feel it is helping you in your physical, emotional, then spiritual and social aspects, definitely you go for it.
mm, mm,
Otherwise, if it is not your cup of tea, you're not having any passion or you're not feeling happy with it, then whenever time comes, the person will choose or will not choose. So
fair.
it's up to them. Okay,
That's very
but I see one thing which I want to add to it is yoga can be a complementing factor in any aspects of the life. It is not only the gym goers
Mm,
who are missing it or who are not able to take that reap the advantage of it.
mm,
Anyone, like a person who is practicing music, a person who is practicing dance, a
mm,
person who is practicing drawing or painting, in
mm,
any aspects of the life, any profession,
mm,
yoga can complement in a much better way.
mm,
yeah.
mm,
That will be my conclusion for your question. So it is
mm.
not only for the gym goers, it is yoga can be practiced by each and everyone in who are in different profession, different perspectives of life. Definitely it will complement them.
Mm, mm,
I think
mm,
it is only now that, when people are looking at yoga as only an exercise for the physical body, that this distinction
Yes,
has
yes,
happened.
yes,
mm.
yes, yes. Yeah. So first of all, yoga is not for physical body
Yeah.
Yeah,
only.
yeah.
It is far ahead of physical dimensions. So you
Mm,
go,
mm,
that's why that Panchakosha theory comes into picture.
mm,
So you focus on the three concepts of the body, that is
mm,
Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira.
mm, mm, mm,
So your perspective will broaden. That
mm.
means you are enhancing your consciousness level so that you can understand these three concepts. Okay.
So
That's
if you have to explain a layman Pancha Kosha theory? Because we understand it, but if our viewers have to understand it in a
Okay.
simple term, how would you say the five sheets?
So if you put it in very simple words, a very good question. Okay. So usually this Panchakosha theory remains in the yoga practitioners or yoga as
Yes, yes.
if we want to put it across to a layman, okay. So if we say Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the person will not understand. So we can say in simple words like we have five layers.
Mm,
Okay, we have layers towards a happiness.
mm,
Okay.
mm, mm,
So the simplest thing which everyone understands is the language of food.
mm,
Food. Okay.
mm, mm,
So if you give a good food, the person okay, the person will be happy. Okay.
mm,
So
mm,
how the person is becoming happy? So let us look through the eyes of Panchakosha. Okay.
mm, mm,
So food is taken inside, ingested through the
mm,
physical body, right?
mm,
So physical
mm,
body is the one which is called as Annamaya Kosha because
mm.
Annam means food. Okay. Kosha
Correct.
is the layer of the sheep. Okay.
Mm,
So this layer of the physical body is formed or it is grown or developed from the Anna, that is from the food we are eating.
correct. Yeah.
If we don't eat food, what happens? There will be malnutrition.
Yeah.
Mm,
If we overeat, that also creates a problem, right?
correct.
It may
Mm,
lead to obesity or diabetes, cholesterol, XYZ
mm,
diseases. Okay.
mm,
So under is also not good, over is also not good. Okay.
mm,
So food should be in moderation. Okay.
mm,
Now imagine the food is taken in moderation and
mm,
the food is very, very good food. What happens to the person in the next level? That is which is called as pranamaya kosha, which
mm,
we can call it as energy sheet, okay, or the
mm,
energy
mm,
body, okay.
mm, mm.
So when a person is having food in moderation, his energy levels are kept up, okay.
Ah, mm,
Suppose see the person is hungry, person
mm,
ate moderately, the
mm,
person's energy kept up, so he is more
mm,
energetic now,
mm,
okay.
mm, mm,
Imagine the person is not having food, he's hungry. So what
mm.
happens to his energy? His energy goes down.
Depletes. Mm, mm,
Imagine the person has overeaten. What happens? The energy again depletes. Okay,
mm,
the person
mm,
becomes lethargic. Like
mm,
imagine you had a very heavy feast, like you had big
mm,
pizza, burger, and like you are like a crocodile, okay, or a
mm,
python who has eat.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
so there also, if you undereat or overeat, your energy depletes.
mm,
Your energy only peps up, and you can remain energetic when you have moderate food.
mm,
Okay,
mm, mm.
so your energy is also happy. You're energetic. So now, if you're energetic, what happens? The next kosha is manomaya
Mind
kosha.
is
It's
mind is happy.
your emotion. Okay.
Mm, mm, mm,
So let's again come down. Okay, you're hungry.
mm,
Okay, you took moderate food. Your
mm,
energies are fine. Now
mm,
your thought process is much better because
mm,
whatever you eat,
mm,
okay, it becomes
mm,
the essence of it becomes your mind.
mm,
Okay. It
mm,
is very much clearly written in the I think Chandogya Upanishad.
mm,
It is clearly mentioned that the food what you eat, the essence of it becomes a part of your mind.
mm,
Okay, so
mm,
that means your thought process is better now.
mm,
Imagine you are hungry. Okay, now according to your upbringing, okay,
mm,
your mental status at that point of time, if you are hungry and if you are not eating, then definitely it affects your mood, right? That
mm,
means your
mm,
emotions. Okay,
mm,
you
mm,
may you may get irritated, you may get angry, or maybe sometimes
mm,
you may get depressed. Okay,
mm, mm, mm,
okay, that happens when you are not eating. You are
mm,
hungry and you are not
mm,
satisfied.
mm,
You have overeaten. Okay, imagine you have
mm.
overeaten. What happens? Your body becomes lethargic. Energies also become lethargic. Your mind also becomes I don't want to do anything. Like
Yeah.
mind also goes lethargic.
Mm,
Okay,
mm,
so you see, only moderate food helps
mm,
in keeping your body healthy,
Healthy.
your energies in proper
mm,
flow, and your mind in a proper thought process. Okay.
mm,
Now, next kosha is Vijnanamaya kosha.
mm,
Okay, that means intellect.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
intellectual sheath.
mm,
Okay. So now, what intellectual sheath does is when you eat
mm,
any kind of food, okay, if your intellect, okay, that is buddhi, okay, if it is working fine, okay, what happens is the way you eat food, okay,
mm,
it changes. That means you will eat only moderately,
Mm.
you will eat
mm,
only good food, which
mm,
helps in keeping your energies in a good flow,
mm,
which, okay, because you understand that body and energy is connected to the mind, and mind is also connected to both. It
mm,
is flowing both ways. Okay.
mm, mm,
So only if you eat in a moderate way, you can have proper energy flow, which helps in a proper thought process. Okay.
mm, mm,
So that is done by the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Okay.
mm, mm,
Now, how you can develop Vijnanamaya Kosha? It is from your upbringing and conditioning. Okay. Imagine you have been overeating from your childhood. Okay. Or you have been undereating. Okay.
mm,
So your in Vijnanamaya Kosha or intellectual C2 will work accordingly. Okay.
mm,
Suppose you're overeating, you have a habit of overeating from your childhood. Okay.
mm,
For
mm,
any kind of reason, like if you're emotionally down or if you're moved out or if you're excited, okay, you are not thinking properly. That means you're not
mm,
using your intellect. You're just
mm,
hogging. Okay. So
mm,
it becomes your habit. Okay.
mm,
So what happens? Again, your thought process is not working properly because
mm,
you have been eating in the same manner, which is affecting your intellect because you are not
mm,
able to think in that way. That if
mm,
I eat only moderately, my energies and my emotions and my intellect will work in a much better way. Okay,
mm,
because that thought process is not happening because
mm,
of the habit from the childhood. Okay,
mm,
so and under eating also. If you
mm,
don't eat properly, so it leads to malnutrition, which affects the energy, which affects the emotions, and which affects the intellect also. Okay,
mm,
so everything has to be in moderation to reach from the gross body, that is from Annamaya Kosha to Pranamaya Kosha to
mm.
Manomaya Kosha to Vijnanamaya Kosha, which actually leads to the next layer, which is called as
Bliss. Mm,
Anandamaya Kosha.
mm,
Anandamaya Kosha,
mm,
which is
mm,
the causal, which we call it as causal body or Karana Sharira,
mm, mm, mm,
reason for everything. Okay.
mm,
So
mm,
now, when you are eating moderately, all these four layers are happy, which
mm,
makes your Anandamaya Kosha
mm,
in Ananda. That means you are
mm.
in a blissful state
Bliss.
at that point
Mm,
of time.
mm,
If
mm,
you overeat or undereat, you
mm,
are causing trouble to all these four layers, which is
mm,
creating a trouble to the fifth layer. That is the
mm,
Anandamaya Kosha. So Anandamaya Kosha is not in a bliss, it is always in
mm,
a non-blissful way. Okay.
mm, 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 mm.
So that is how, if you want to make a layman understand, you can give this
Yeah,
example. Okay, this is what which came
I
into my
think
mind because
it's
you
a
can
lovely analogy, sir. Yeah.
you can relate to food. Okay.
Correct,
So
correct.
you all can think, right? If you
Yeah,
put yourself in the same scenario and just think. Okay.
correct, correct.
And you
So
have
this
Lovely.
is
answered the questions are like, a lot of times when people ask, how can I overcome my cravings? Because, it has become that Vijnanamaya thing has happened that, you
Yeah.
associate hogging or like, eating out of emotion because it's all connected, all the layers are connected. And your intellect also says that, yes, in a situation of emotional crisis, I need to munch on something and
Mm,
yes, yes, yes. So
yeah,
thought process, your intellect will work accordingly. It will
mm,
fall for your emotions.
that's very true.
So, intellect and emotion should work hand in hand. Okay,
mm,
otherwise, whatever
mm.
we do, it will turn up into an impulsive act or emotional reaction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may harm yourself also, it may harm others also.
Mm,
Because we are not able to think. Okay?
mm,
We just
That's true.
react.
Yeah. I think that's also one of the first things that yoga does to all of us, that we become very conscious of what we eat, not in the sense that only clean eating, but we make the right decision. It's not like
Yeah.
yoga teachers don't indulge.
Yes,
Mm.
yes,
They
yes.
do, but in the right way. They know how to indulge.
Correct, correct. So we become more aware of our thoughts. Okay.
Yeah,
Thoughts and
Mm.
actions. Okay.
Mm.
So when we are aware of thoughts and action, it actually helps in progressing.
that's true. Yes.
So
That's
we can
Yeah.
try this. You can put to the viewers also, like, they can try eating junk food a few days. Okay. For one
Yeah.
week, they eat junk food. See the way the body responds, see the way the energy responds, the mind responds, the intellect responds, and how
Yeah.
happy or unhappy they feel.
mm,
Okay.
Yeah.
Then after that, they go for a detox and then have a very clean food for
mm,
the next
Yeah.
7 days. You see the difference. There is a huge difference.
Correct.
The body will feel light.
yeah.
Your energies will flow very much better. You'll feel more
Mm.
energetic. Then
Mm.
your thought process is much better. You can handle your
Yeah.
emotions in a much better way. Thinking
Mm.
process becomes much higher. Okay, and you are always in a happy mood.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right?
Sir, so because we are talking of food, I had another question, but I want to continue on this and I want to know your opinion on this. That, there's always a debate in yoga that to eat only vegetarian food or to not.
Ah.
And this is a very,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
there on the internet thing. I'll tell you what my personal belief is first, so I can hear your opinion. That yes, there is ahimsa that is in yoga, but food is also very cultural. Food is not just
Yeah,
something that you understand from the text and you start
yeah,
eating
yeah.
that. So sometimes, eating fish or meat is part of someone's culture. And when you try to preach everyone that, oh, you should not, is more of himsa than ahimsa. And I've seen a lot of, people on the internet saying this dialogue that why you should not eat is because you absorb the emotions of that uh, being that you're eating. But I don't feel it, it is right to tell it to someone who grew up eating and their family eats. So, what is your take on it? Is eating a vegetarian diet very compulsory for yoga, and how does it affect our emotions, or does it like?
Okay, good question. Okay. See, as you said, like food is very much cultural. Okay. More than cultural, I would say food is completely depending upon how your ancestors, that means your
Mm.
forefathers,
Yeah,
you're coming from a lineage, right? So how your grandparents and their parents, their grandparents, they used to eat. If they were eating meat, okay, they all were eating meat, definitely your body also will ask for meat. Okay. So
Mm.
your body
Yeah.
can digest meat, okay, and body definitely will ask for it. Okay. Imagine you're from a vegetarian family, okay, for a few generations, okay, and you're strictly vegetarians. Then definitely your body will ask only for vegetarian food. And if you ingest non-vegetarian in that, then it will create a confusion. Same way the other one also.
Mm.
Non-vegetarian lineage, okay, if you suddenly cut the non-vegetarian and just only vegetarian or vegan, then definitely the body will get confused because body is used to it. Because we can say this body is completely depending upon the genetics. Okay.
Mm.
So that is the first thing which we have to take care. What our grandparents and their parents used to eat.
mm,
Okay. And body is more comfortable with that because the body knows what was ingested in them and how to
mm,
digest it. You
Mm.
have similar kind of enzymes. Okay.
Mm.
Now, if you ask whether vegetarianism is good for yoga practice, I would say vegetarianism helps you in keeping your thought process in a very clear manner and
Sat.
clogging of your mind or clogging of the thoughts can be reduced. So this happens actually in the initial stages. So when you practice yoga, when you are into some yoga practice or any of the practices, this happens only in the initial stages. where you will get influenced with the food and other things.
Mm.
Once you cross it,
Mm.
once you cross that barrier, okay, the parameter of food and the taste and other things, any food you ingest, it doesn't bother.
Mhm.
Understand? It
Yeah.
doesn't bother. Okay. So it doesn't make any difference. Okay. So initial stages, definitely, if you can practice vegetarianism and reducing the meat consumption, definitely it creates a huge difference in the practice also.
Mm.
That is very visible. Or in other ways also, we can say, when we start practicing in a very dedicated and very religious manner, definitely your food habits gradually changes.
Mhm. Yeah.
The body will
And
try to
it's
accept. Yeah.
lighter to digest.
Yes. Yes. Body will try to accept only those things which body needs. Okay. Anything other than that, if you ingest into the body will not digest it. So we should be able to understand, okay, this food my body is rejecting now, so I should reject. It can be vegetarian also, it can be non-vegetarian also. Both body will reject. Huh? It is not like only non-vegetarian body will reject. Okay. Sometimes some non-vegetarian body will accept, some vegetarian body will not accept. Okay. So it all depends upon how you have your genetics, how is your genetics, and also what is your practice, and what is your physical and mental status at that point of time.
So
That's
the same logic would apply for onion garlic as well, right?
yeah.
Being
Yeah.
tamasic and
Yeah, yeah.
it instantly clogs the mind if consumed.
Yes. Yes. See, in that way, like, if we can debate on that, like for
Mm.
example, alcohol. Okay.
Yes. Another one, yeah.
Take alcohol, okay. Suppose person A is having alcohol, person B is having alcohol. Okay.
Mm.
Person A, you gave alcohol, you gave him two pegs. Okay. The person is
Mm.
creating havoc. Okay. He's overacting, creating drama. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So you know he's becoming a nuisance. Okay.
Ah. Mm.
Second person, person B, the person is having the same amount of alcohol, but the person is very much poised, is
Yeah.
very
Ah.
calm. Okay, he remains. His thought process is also very much fine. Okay, so what? So how can we differentiate that alcohol is rajasic or tamasic? So because
Mm.
it is working in this way in this person, it is working in another way in another person.
The other person.
That's why I told you, like food is just you can say like if we look in a very smaller perspective,
Really, yeah.
we can say this food is tamasic, this food is rajasic, this thing is
Correct.
sattvic. But
Correct.
if we
Correct.
cross it, if we cross those things, like that means if we cross that physical thing, okay,
Mm.
and we know how to regulate the thought process, then any food, in
And
my knowledge, any food doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Okay, food
Makes
that's
just
so much sense.
becomes,
Yeah.
yeah, food just becomes a thing to maintain your physical body.
Survive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
that's very powerful what you said, sir, because
So powerful.
I
Yeah.
keep hearing when we read Bhagavad Gita, we hear that a jnani is not affected um
Ah,
by anything. Like they
yeah.
have already transcended that, all these small things, and it is just us so much like, arguing about these smaller things, which
Mm. Mm.
ultimately
Mm.
does not account.
Yeah, yeah. Correct.
Correct.
Okay,
Even
so yeah.
I think even there is a story on about this thing uh, about Buddha. Like one day, Buddha, like how the Buddha bhikshus they go to different places and they ask for the
Mm.
food and they come back to Buddha and they eat it. Okay, so
Mm.
one day the disciples got meat. Okay,
Mm.
as a bhikshu. Okay,
Mm.
so he brought the meat. Okay, so Buddha was eating the meat, and then one of the disciples, how can you do this? You're supposed to be vegetarian. I say, today nature has given me this thing, so this is the one which I can
Mm.
satisfy my hunger. Okay, so I
Mm.
don't differentiate.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
when yoga is like, we are going into a perspective of non-differentiation, right? We're
Mm.
going into that Advaita or that singularity. So
Mm.
when if we differentiate it, then Yeah, definitely that means like we are still in the we
Beginner
have not
basics.
progressed. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm. Not
That-
evolved enough, correct, sir.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But as we evolve, we understand that we should not harm like beings who have that consciousness,
That's
who
Mm,
are which has emotions. So it is always better to go into a vegetarianism. So
mm,
those things comes gradually. Okay.
mm, mm,
But otherwise, if putting a strict rule on that, yeah, it is not good. Even in
mm,
Hatha Yoga also, Hatha Yoga Prativika, it is mentioned. There is no strict rule regarding the food or anything.
mm,
But
mm,
that's
we recommend this kind of food. Okay.
mm, mm,
Yoga recommends this kind of food. So when that means uh, Madhuram and Snigdha. Okay. That is what it
mm,
is written in
mm,
Hatha Yoga Prativika. So it
mm,
should be very much sattvic in
mm,
nature, which
mm,
can help you in your practices.
mm,
Once you cross it,
mm,
yeah.
once you have gone that, then doesn't matter.
mm, mm,
I think that's why this once I read yoga philosophy, Viveka and Vairagya always go hand in hand. You can't
mm,
just, impose Vairagya on yourself. It has
mm,
to come from a place of Viveka, that discernment that
mm,
Yeah.
I have had enough of this and I no longer have the desire to have it.
Yes,
mm,
yes, yes, yes. True, 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 true,
So, sir,
true.
on that note, I would like to ask you another question, which is you mentioned that a 200-hour training, teacher training, is like
mm,
entering a kindergarten. You have
mm,
entered a kindergarten. Now, what happens is there are so many 200 hours, and naturally, yoga is a lucrative career at this point, and it also gives you like other benefits which you don't have in other jobs. Like you are able to maintain your health well, and you have time, and you can travel. So after a 200 hour, I always get this question. Akin gets this question that most of the young teachers, because you can call yourself a teacher after right after 200 hours, they are confused because they don't know how to sequence a class properly. They don't know how to teach different bodies. So they always have a question that whether to go for a 300 hour, whether to go for, now in India we have these graduate programs, MSc, MA, all these programs, or to just start teaching in a studio. So, what should be the next immediate step? As you said, you mentioned that apprenticing under someone is another good option.
Yeah.
But if they don't have that, so what should be done after a 200 hours? Should they just sign up for another course or should they wait and teach?
Okay, so I'll tell my experience because everyone's point of view is different, and everyone's ambition also will be different. Aim is different. Okay. So when I did my 200 hours, after 200 hours, I started. I was with my master, so then I could see how he's teaching. Then I went to different teachers, attended their classes just to understand how different teachers take classes. And from there, gradually, I started taking classes on my own. Okay. So there also I understood that no, I'm lacking something. Okay, I have to progress. So when that thought process came, then I went for the next step. Okay, that is 300 hours. After that, again, like I understood that, oh no, there is something which I am lacking. Okay, so then I went for the specialization of the anatomy courses. Okay, so
mm,
which I did from the sports medicine course. Okay, it
mm,
is totally a different course, nothing related with the yoga course. It is completely a different thing.
mm,
But what I learned from that, I started implementing in the yoga asana practice,
mm,
which helped me in a very different way. So, what I would suggest for a beginner or a person who has completed 200 hours is start practicing. One is start practicing, so that is self practice. Second is you practice with any of the or a few number of teachers. Okay, not just one single teacher, a few number of teachers who are experienced and recognized and recommended. So you'll understand different types of teaching methodologies, and according to that person's understanding level, the person can choose whether he want to start taking class or become an independent trainer at that point of time, or should I upgrade with the next 300 hours or any other MSc, okay, or university level programs? Okay, so it is completely that person's discretion at that point of time. So before taking any courses, I would always recommend at least for 1 year, okay, or minimum 6 months, you practice and be with a group of renowned, experienced and recommended teachers, so
Yeah.
that
Mm.
that person can understand what he or she needs in the next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Aki? Like, did you do a 300-hour right after 200? What was your journey?
No,
No, I
no.
didn't.
Who for me or Akin?
Akin.
No,
Okay.
I did my 200 hours and then I was just upscaling with philosophy, anatomy, things like that, and just doing yoga sutras, things like that, and gained my practice and
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Yes. So I will add one more thing. Like once you have decided that this is your path, then make sure you don't miss any of the good seminars or webinars,
Hmm.
okay, or
Mm,
yoga camps or anything related to the subject. You don't miss anything.
That's
So as much as possible, you try to attend good ones.
mm,
Okay. So what happens is you see variety of things. So in seminars
mm,
and webinars or camps, there are variety of things which are coming up. It is not
mm,
only yoga. Maybe some other
I know
alternative
that.
sciences are also coming into the picture. So the person will have a broader understanding of these alternative sciences. So maybe he or she might be better in something else.
Hmm.
mm,
So the person can pick his or her potential from that webinars or seminars.
Yeah.
mm.
So that is also one thing which I would recommend. So
As
never.
they say, right, yoga is a lifelong journey. One lifetime is
Yeah,
not enough.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's constant learning, constant
yeah,
upscaling, and
yeah, yeah.
it's still you can deep dive, and the more you
Yes,
deep dive,
yeah,
the more
yeah.
you'll discover.
It is like learning music, right? Like you start with the swaras, sapta swaras, okay,
Yeah,
saregama padansa.
yeah,
Then on a later stage you start singing, okay.
yeah.
Then then you will understand, okay, whether you want to go for classical, semi-classical, or rap, or something like different Western. Okay, so
Yes.
what that happens with as you progress, right?
Hmm.
Mm,
Same way, like yoga is also same thing.
That's
mm,
true. Sir, it's so funny. I think I never mentioned this. The course that I did with you, the anatomy course, was my first ever, anything into yoga. I did my 200-hour after your course. And I was just I was practicing Shivananda's style. And for myself, I thought I want to learn anatomy because there's always this hype of alignment. So I thought, let me
Mhm.
just learn anatomy. And at that point, I had no idea that I'll be teaching or doing anything with this course.
mm.
So it was so in depth, I think, and
Yeah,
afterwards, even now, we are all of us are still connected, and we still keep sending these, hey,
Yes,
this
yes, yes.
student is doing this in the pose, and what should we how should we help them?
yeah.
It's
I think that is the best thing that has
yeah,
happened, that Sir building this community, because I
exactly,
think if Sir didn't build it, I don't think Kavya and me would be able to do what we're doing today, because we would,
absolutely.
so
100% credit goes to you, sir.
yeah, I think the community building really helped Sir.
Right. No, in any field, community building is very important and very beneficial because
Yeah,
you have a lot of ideas, a lot of heads coming together, right? So
correct.
many people will have different potential in different subjects.
Yeah,
So it can be shared with everyone.
Yeah.
yeah. So coming back to a little bit, since we spoke a little bit of anatomy, so what are the most common anatomical mistakes you see in yoga classes that are happening these days?
Like the most popular ones.
Most common popular ones, which probably, I don't know, you answer this question, so.
it is very, again, it is very debatable thing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
see, anatomy is completely based on one person's structure. Okay, so
Correct.
everybody is different. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll, I'll take an example of Ashwasanchalan. Okay,
Yes, correct.
Ashwasanchalanasana
Mm,
in Surya Namaskar. Okay,
mm, mm,
so because that is one of the most most what do you say, uh, very common postural position where people say like you have to be like this, you have to be like this,
yeah.
your
Mm,
knee has to be in line with this. Okay.
correct, correct.
So I'll say there, see, if you look at an alignment, okay. So what is alignment? Like, see, what is alignment? Alignment is like this is a structure, this is an object. Okay.
Mm,
If this is aligned with in line of gravity, you can hold this. The
mm,
moment it changes its alignment, okay, there is a gravitational force acting upon it.
mm,
Now
mm,
imagine this structure. Imagine this structure is able to hold against that force, gravitational force.
mm,
Then definitely we can say this person is in misalignment, which will create an injury.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
So imagine this as your spine. Okay.
mm,
Now you are sitting like this. Okay. Now sitting just like this will not create an injury.
mm,
Okay, or it is not a misaligned posture.
mm,
Obviously, when you look from outside, it is like a misaligned thing.
mm,
Okay, but
mm,
this person, it might be comfortable till when, till the tissues which are surrounding this structure, okay,
mm,
are supporting him to work
mm,
against the gravitational force, okay,
mm,
which is applied on the body.
mm, mm,
Okay, that
mm,
means if my muscles, okay, and my connective tissues are strong enough to hold this posture for a long time, it will not create an injury.
mm,
I'll be still fine in this posture. Okay.
mm, mm, mm.
So can we say that this is in misalignment?
Not for that person.
Not for that person,
Not
right?
for that person.
Yeah.
Correct.
So same way when we look at Ashwasanchalan, okay, and when the person is doing Ashwasanchalan, we say like you keep one leg behind, one leg forward. So in the forward, in the leg which is forward, we usually say your knee should not cross your toe.
Mm,
Knee should be in line with the ankle
mm,
joint.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
And on the back side, you can say your toe should be pointed backward. Okay.
mm,
So if a person is good enough or a person's body is good enough to bring the knee ahead of the toe without any discomfort or any other issues,
mm,
then there is no mistake or there is no, we cannot say that person is in misalignment.
mm,
Mm.
mm, mm,
When you look through those eyes, then we can say, ah, no, this is like misaligned. But if the
mm,
person is, if the body is able to do it, handle that force, there is no issue at all.
mm, mm,
So the alignment thing is completely individualistic. Okay.
mm,
So what we have to understand is whether my structure is able to handle that movement and the
mm,
forces which are being applied on the structure.
Mm.
mm,
Whether my tissues have that strength and force to generate against the
mm,
external forces. That's it.
mm. Because we're all bio individually different. Our bodies are
Yes.
different. Some people have a bigger torso, some people have
Yes.
a small torso, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
For example, like
okay.
if suppose I'm taking something from here.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. So suppose I am taking this water bottle from here.
mm,
So if you look the way I'm taking, it is not actually a good movement. Okay,
mm,
because
mm, mm,
shoulder joint is very much vulnerable in this kind
mm,
of a position. That means
mm,
like this is
mm,
like externally rotated shoulder. Okay,
mm, mm, mm,
and horizontally abducted or horizontally
mm,
extended.
mm,
So if my tissues which are surrounding the shoulder joint are weak
mm,
and the weight which I'm lifting, okay,
mm,
is heavier than my muscular force or
mm,
muscle strength, then
mm,
definitely it
mm,
will create an injury. So I can say then that point of time I was misaligned. But if my tissues are strong enough to take the weight from here without any discomfort, then 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 we can say your tissues are fine. Okay. I have I have that strength to lift it. Okay. So I'm not
Right.
an instant at that point of time.
Mm.
Okay. So everything is individualistic.
You
But
answered.
there are certain, yeah. Yeah, Kavya.
No, I was just going to say that now, because in yoga there are, what Akin asked was like, there are so many things that are debated on the internet, is because people try to adhere to that particular lineage that they come from, and
Yeah.
there's some amount of pride that, oh, we come from that lineage.
Yes,
And
yes.
even I have seen, like, in certain classes, the way you adjust someone is so homogenized that only this
Yeah.
is the way you adjust someone, which does not sit right with me. And then there are also debates that now people have stopped caring about the adjustments of those particular lineage, because the bodies are changing, and that lineage is,
Yeah.
the teacher who taught that lineage is, has passed away a long time back. And as society, like, bodies are changing, people are more stiff, or there are certain things that are happening. So then again, like, people have started accepting this, that alignment is very much individual.
Very much intelligent. And also, see, one thing which we have to understand is whenever we do any movement, okay, or any exercise or any asana practice or any physical activity, we have to just understand whether our tissues, okay, means especially the muscles,
Yeah.
its tendons and the ligaments and the cartilage, which are covering the ends of the bone, whether they are strong enough to handle the external forces. That means the forces which are being applied on the body. If they are able to handle it, then your structure is fine. Okay. But what happens is when you do repeatedly wrong movements for a long time, okay, where external forces are applied on the body on a regular basis, and you're on one fine day, maybe your muscular force or your tissue force is not able to cope with that, then from that point your injury slowly starts piling up. Okay. So
But
that
that
is when
also happens with wear and tear, no? So like with
exactly,
age.
yeah, which
Yeah,
with yeah, that may be because of other reasons also.
correct. Correct. Yeah.
If a person has some other reasons, like for example, a person is having some kind of arthritic conditions, okay, then the person should be careful. Okay. Or the person is having some kind of intervertebral discs related issue, then the person has to be careful. If the person is having any kind of cartilage related issues, any wear and tear of the cartilage, or there is no proper synovial fluid inside the joints, or the person is having any kind of tendon inflammation or ligament sprain, then definitely the person has to take care of the alignment. Other than that, if your body is strong enough to manage these forces, then alignment becomes very much individualistic.
Correct.
What about, sir, this thing, the hip hype that
Oh,
we,
yes.
because Akina and I were like laughing about it, that not the hip hype, that
Hype.
the hip store trauma, and this focus on hip opening classes.
Ah. Okay, you mean like
Yeah, the
uh,
whole of internet is filled with that. So if you see
Yeah, and like, and
hip
stories of
openers.
people starting crying in pigeon poses, and
After, yeah.
you mean like when you do hip opening asanas, you release certain emotions.
yeah, yeah.
Do you mean that one?
Yeah, yes. And also, like, how women are more, like, it is said, I have not felt it or seen it in my teaching
Yeah.
experience, that women being more prone to, feeling emotionally in particular hip opening poses, let's say. So, um, and women
Ah,
tend to hold a lot more in their hips. I haven't, because I see more of, men having tight hip because of the structural thing.
The girdle,
Women,
pelvic girdle.
yeah,
Yeah.
women in general like are okay with their hip. They don't seem to be, that stiff around
Yeah.
the region. So
Yeah.
what is that hip hype all about?
Yeah. 'Cause-
again,
yeah.
again, as we discussed, like it is all like, see, if we try to pinpoint everything, you can find a lot of things with each and every nook and corner of the body. Like
Mm,
what I would say, like if you go a few years back, that means few
mm,
maybe two generations back. Okay, so if you look at a normal, ordinary lady in a family, do you think they had these kind of issues?
mm,
It is very less, right? Or maybe because we have a lot of communicative medium right now, we are able to understand it or we hear a lot of
mm,
things. But personally, if I look back in my life, okay, 30 years back, or my grandparents, okay, they're no more, but at that point of time, I haven't seen any of uh, you know uh, any of the grandparents complaining about this PCOD or any kind of
mm.
uh, what do you say, whatever life
Yeah.
Emotion release or anything.
emotional
Mm,
related things.
mm,
What you hear
mm,
now, I haven't heard
mm,
any of my grandparents
Hmm.
uh, communicating about that.
mm, mm,
They were living happily because maybe because they were more connected with the nature, because they
mm,
start their day very early in the morning.
Yeah.
What I've seen is like they go into that, we had land, so they go into the land, they water the plants,
mm,
they plow the field. So they have their own activity. Physically they are active, and mentally they are focused on that thing, which actually makes a person very much physically and emotionally and maybe socially and spiritually also
mm,
very on a very what you say, uh, than a normal person what you see now. Okay,
mm,
they are on a
mm,
very elevated level, okay,
mm,
than a normal person in this
mm,
generation.
Yeah.
mm,
So, according to me, rather than focusing on this hip hike or hip opening or other
mm,
things, whatever is possible by you do exercises or asana practice according to your body capacity.
mm, mm,
But be close to the nature.
mm,
Okay.
mm,
Because if we are not close to the nature and we are inside four walls or we are inside the studio doing splits or hip opening or this pose, Badakonasan, pigeon pose, and just we are getting confined only to only inside a building or only
mm,
between four walls. Even if you do a lot of hip opening, your mind is still in a
mm.
clock
Yeah.
manner. So you will
Mm,
not be able to handle the emotions.
mm,
You even if you don't do these kind of things, you be in the nature, you just play around, you just be in the nature. Keep your mobility. Okay, nature has given few joints for us, and you keep mobility. That is by default there are some range of motions for every joint. You
mm,
keep that mobility for every joint which is meant to be there. Okay,
Yeah.
if that is maintained and if you're close to the nature, then that is more than enough. Okay, so that is my experience.
Yeah.
The other thing is just a hype and other things.
mm,
I think
You
that's
can
a,
you can try it by yourself also. You
Hmm.
just confine yourself to four walls. Okay, you practice whatever it is. Like you do splits, you do Badak Konasan, you do Supta Badak Konasan,
mm,
pigeon pose, this pose, that pose, all the hip opening. If you don't go into the nature, you can see your mind doesn't work properly. Your energies doesn't work properly. Your body will not respond properly because body is coming from the nature. We have to have connection with the nature. You have
mm,
to step on the grass or sand or mud with bare feet. You have to have that free air. Uh,
mm,
your skin has to feel it, your body has to
mm,
feel it. You have to have that warmth of the sun. You have to have that chirping and this thing, singing of the birds. Okay, you
mm,
have to hear it. The wind, the sound of the wind, sound of the water, the sound of thunder. Okay, you have to hear it. So whatever is
mm,
confined to the nature, you expose it to or you expose your body to the nature, and
mm,
your body is fine. You don't have to do these kind of hip
mm,
hits and all. Okay.
mm.
I think that's a very beautiful note to, I think, bring our today's conversation to an end. Uh,
Yeah,
you have really just, put us all in a different perspective. I no longer have any questions related to anatomy anymore. So over
yeah.
to you, Akin.
No, absolutely. I love the way he gave the food analogy. I think even the
Yeah.
last thing what he said was so good. But sir, before we end, I want to ask you some three rapid questions, sir. Just
Yeah.
a quick question. Which is the most overrated yoga pose according to you?
uh, overrated, or
Yeah, overrated.
I would say Shirsasan or Pinchamayurasana is one thing. Like Shirsasan is one thing which is overrated.
Yeah. And the most underrated.
Hmm.
Shashankasan.
Yes. Yes.
Shashankasan or Balasan.
Yeah, it just gets sidelined, like, under oh, whenever you are tired in a yoga class, just take Shashankas.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you look into Shashankasan or Balasan, like it has very huge benefits.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Huge benefits. Huge benefits.
I love
Maybe-
Shashankastan, my favorite pose. Yeah,
Yeah, one thing
this
is like
is
anyone can be in Shashankasan for a long time. Okay, you can
yeah,
just can go into sleep also in that posture if the body is comfortable. But
yeah,
Shirsasan, you need a lot of practice for that. It is
yeah,
so not everyone can do Shirsasan, and
absolutely.
you cannot hold Shirsasan for more than a few minutes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's such an important one. Yeah.
Shirsasan is so peaceful, so
Yeah.
happy.
True, true.
Yeah. Yeah. And one more thing which I want to add to it is, see, irrespective of the asanas or irrespective of the exercise, we have to
Mm,
understand how comfortable our body is in any
yeah,
position or posture,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
or any exercise, okay. How freely and comfortably we are able to breathe. And that means our breath has a free flow.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
if there is any disturbance in the free flow of your breath in any
mm,
position, posture, or any exercise, then that is not a good posture for you.
mm,
Okay. Suppose, like for example, you're holding Shirsasana and you're breathing like
mm,
you're struggling with your breath. Okay.
mm,
Then Shirsasana that will not give you any benefits.
mm,
But at the
mm,
same point of time, simple Shashankasan, if your
mm,
body is comfortable and you are comfortable with your breath, there is no
mm,
disturbance in your normal breathing pattern, you are able to breathe freely,
mm,
then Shashankasan will give you more benefit than Shivasana.
mm, mm,
Okay, understand? And how comfortably your mind is.
mm,
So these three aspects has to be taken care. How comfortable your body is, how comfortable your breath is, how comfortable your mind is.
mm, mm,
Your mind should not be
mm,
like, when I am going to end this posture,
mm,
or when I'll
mm,
be able to come out of this posture. What is my
mm.
target for this posture? So those things should not happen. Like your mind
Yeah,
should be free, and it should
correct.
be like you're enjoying, like you're enjoying that food. Ah, same kind of feeling. Okay,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
lovely.
So second one.
No, and
Third
just
one.
one la yeah. No, and just one last question. So before we end, what is this one piece of advice you would like to give to a yoga student? What would it be? This is one piece of advice that you give to a yoga student. What would it be?
I would say try to practice yama niyama as much as possible.
Brilliant.
Put it,
So good.
yeah,
Yeah.
put it into your practical life. Because once you understand Yama Niyama, or once it is implemented properly, then
So
definitely
good.
everything will come into place.
Mm.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
That's a basic
Very
thing which
true.
I want to give. I don't
Beautiful,
think
sir.
anything else, yeah, I don't think anything else a yoga practitioner needs.
Yeah.
Yama
So,
niyamas are like so subtle and they are not visible on, the social media culture, and that's why they are not much talked about, but
Yeah.
they are the first two limbs for a reason. So,
yeah, because even if you look at the Ashtanga Yoga, the step by step,
Mm.
asana, pranayama, dhyana, and all comes later. The
later.
Mm.
first,
Mm.
first two is yama niyama.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
yeah, even if you practice it, the other things will follow. But,
I
but
think,
see,
yeah.
yeah, but see, like a normal person cannot directly practice yama niyama.
Mm.
So what we can do, see, there are two things which we can do. See, ultimately, we are trying to regulate the thought process. Okay. When we talk about yoga, yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Okay.
Mm.
So it is very difficult for any person to directly capture the thought process and regulate the thought process or make them in
Mm.
your control.
Mm.
So what we have to do is we have to focus on the physical body.
Mm.
So target the physical body. You plow the physical body so that your breath and your mind is being regulated.
Mm.
Okay. So once you understand that, that means through the asana practice and the pranayama practice, if you are able to control your body and the breath and your thought process, then gradually it will lead to yama niyama. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Understand? So both ways you can do. Okay. So you directly target yama niyama. Okay. Or you target this way. Okay. So that is from gross to subtle
Mm.
will be a better option because
Mm.
we are in that kind of a generation and that kind
Mm.
of
Mm.
scenario.
Mm.
So we are very much, to be very honest, most of the population we can see in the globe, we are very much physical oriented.
Mm. Mm.
So try to start from the gross and go to the subtle.
Mm.
Even though we have come from subtle to the gross,
Yes.
Mm.
because we are the gross, we are condensed form, right?
Mm.
We have a subtle, okay, but we are not able to understand it. So
Understand.
directly
Mm.
jumping may confuse. So
Hmm.
you
Mm.
understand the gross and then you move to the subtle.
Yeah.
So that is my piece of, I will not say advice, my perspective. My perspective.
Thank you so much, sir, for that.
No, yeah,
Just,
thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
yeah, Swami Dayananda has this quote which I always try to recall, that once you start living a dharmic life, you are practicing yoga.
Very good.
Yes, yeah, so true.
Very true.
Which is,
Very true.
Yeah.
which is
Very
your
true.
yamas.
Yeah.
Dharmic life is nothing but your yamas, niyamas.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Very true. Very true. Very,
So,
very simple. Kavya has put it in very simple.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
when I like when I read that quote, I was like, yes, it's so simple. Yoga is so simple.
Yeah.
We are all yoga practitioners.
Yeah, yeah. Dharmic way.
Yeah.
Mm.
So thank you so much, sir, for taking this time out. I think we still have so much more to discuss with you, and we'll keep having you
Yeah.
for many more episodes. Uh,
Definitely, definitely, definitely. My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you so much because this kind of questions actually brings whatever is within me, like so it brings to my mind also.
yeah, that's the whole idea. We wanted to have this, Akin and I, that we lack this. We lack this. That we're just so isolated, teaching online and going
Yeah.
to studio and teaching. That these conversations we all miss out on. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We should definitely have these kind of more conversations because communication is very much lacking in this
we,
community.
yeah,
Yes.
Very much
Yes.
lacking. That means
Mm.
free communication. There is
Yes.
communication, but with some ifs, buts, barriers, and all. Okay, we should not have any barrier. It should be a free communication.
yes.
Mm.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll see you
Yeah.
very soon again.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank
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 you
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks
Yeah.
to both of you. Yeah.
Bye.
I'll stop.